What's going on? I pray that you're having a blessed day today. I'm Darius Bond here to welcome you to the Faithful Bonds channel. If you guys are first-time viewers, welcome. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate having you here. If you're a returning viewer, hey, I appreciate you guys coming back. So I have a special topic in store today for you guys. Something quick, nothing, too long drawn or anything like that. I just want to cover the topic of stewardship today. So first and foremost, what exactly is stewardship? So the Merriam-Webster definition, so to speak, is the job of supervising or taking care of something, such as an organization or property. So for example, if your friend lets you borrow their car, you are a steward of that car. It's up to you to be responsible, and you're accountable for making sure that car is in working order or in better shape than it was when you received it once you give it back to them. But also an organization as well. If you're a pastor of a church, you are a steward of that church and its congregation. So all of the people that go in and out of those doors, you're responsible for, and the Lord holds you responsible for that. Organizations, like I said, a church, but also if you're a supervisor at a company, it's your job to steward the employees and the property of that company. Even as not supervisory employees, you're also stewards as well. If you work for a factory, you steward the machinery. It's up to you to make sure that you're using it properly, that you're not damaging it or anything like that. So we're stewards in our everyday lives, and we don't even think about it, to be honest with you. But I also want to talk about the biblical application of stewardship, which is utilizing and managing all of God's gifts, basically coming down to resources, talents, actual creations, things like that, and using that to honor Him and to glorify His name. Amen. So there's all sorts of different ways that we can steward, the gifts that God has given us. So, for example, if you've been financially blessed, you can make sure you manage that financial blessing properly, not spending it frivolously, not even making, unnecessary purchases without taking it to Him first, but also bringing your tithe and offerings to the storehouse, like Malachi 3:10 talks about. Bring all your tithes and offerings to the storehouse, right? Because His kingdom, building His kingdom is not free. So if you've been financially blessed and you're a part of a ministry, be a blessing to your ministry. Help steward your finances by helping His work grow. Because you bring honor and glory to His name when you do that. That's how you properly use your blessing. That's how you properly steward the blessing. If you've been blessed with musical talents, where are you using those musical talents? Are you using it in the church? Are you using it at faith-based concerts? Are you using it to even make albums, studio albums and things like that glorify the Lord? If that's what you're doing, then you're stewarding that blessing properly. But if you're using it to make secular music or raunchy music or anything like that, you're not stewarding the blessing that the Lord has given you. And there are consequences to not stewarding the blessing that the Lord has given you. The parable of the talents is a prime example of that. So in that parable, in Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30, if you want, you guys can, in your own time, read the whole parable out. But in a nutshell, a master of different servants and things like that allocated talents to 3 of his servants. To one servant he gave 5 talents, the other servant he gave 2, and the last one he gave 1. So the first servant, who he gave the 5 talents to, went out, made an investment decision, and managed to get 5 more talents added. The servant that had 2 talents made some proper business decisions, and he managed to get 2 more talents. But here's the key thing, y'all. What it also mentions when he allocated these funds is that He allocated them according to their abilities. So I want y'all to hear that for a second. I want you to keep that tabbed on a piece of paper in the back of your mind, because I'm going to go back to that in a second. So for the last servant, he gave 1 talent. And what did that servant with the 1 talent do? He was fearful. He was scared. He didn't want to do anything to lose it. So what he did was he chose a place in the earth. And he basically dug a hole, put the talent there, and waited for his master to come back. So when the master came back, the guy with the 5 talents said, "Hey, master, I doubled your money up. I got 10 now." He said, "Hey, good job. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You were faithful in little. Now I can trust that you'll be faithful over much." The same with the guy with the 2 talents. He said, Lord, hey, I doubled your money up too. I got 4 talents now. He said, hey, well done, thy good and faithful servant. You were faithful over little. Now I trust you to be faithful over much. But the last servant who used fear instead of faith, listen to that real quick, fear instead of faith, he said, Lord, I know you're a hard worker and you work hard for your money. So I didn't want to lose none of that money. So I dug a little hole, put the money there, and here's your money back. The 1 talent he gave me is the 1 talent he gave back. He said, thy lazy and wicked servant. He said, because you weren't faithful in little, I can't trust you to be faithful in much. So what he ended up doing was taking that 1 talent away and giving it to the person that had 10. So basically, in a nutshell, when you don't steward the blessings that the Lord has given you properly, he could very well take them away if he decides to. I know our God is faithful. He's gracious. He's just. He may give you another chance to utilize, but there's a chance that he may not. So here's the thing, y'all. We got to make sure that we're properly stewarding our blessings. So here's another angle I want to, throw y'all away real quick, because this is something that we don't necessarily think about when we think of stewardship. Our relationships, whether it's friends, family, significant others, husbands, wives, etc. So how do we steward our relationships well? So first things first, when you're getting to know someone, if you're going the courting and marriage route, part of a way to steward that relationship is to spend time with the other person. Get to know that other person. See their likes and dislikes. Spending that time together is a perfect way to steward your relationship, because then you can grow that relationship to where it needs to be. But here's the thing, the relationship has to be ordained by God first and foremost. But if it's something that's ordained by God, what you need to do is make sure that you're stewarding properly. If you're a husband, like I am, I've been married 6 years to my beautiful wife, making sure you spend that time with your wife. Date your wife. You take her out on date nights. That's stewarding the relationship right there. Also, making sure you guys are on the same page when it comes to biblical principle, because we don't want to be unequally yoked. So if you guys are on the same basically the same wavelength as far as biblical principles concerned, spend time together reading the word, spend time praying together. That is how you steward your relationship with your wife or with your husband, depending on who you are. Men, making sure you're leading your house how you should be, being that spiritual leader of the home. Women, submitting to your husbands if they truly are being that spiritual leader of the home that they are called to be. Because once you guys are fully in that alignment and in purpose, a lot of our purposes out here, and I've learned this for myself too, a lot of our purposes kind of rely on our relationships. So making sure you steward those relationships. You could be having divine appointments with friends right now, and you don't even know it. Making sure you steward those relationships, because you never know where it's going to lead you. Amen? Because when you're walking and stewarding properly, then you're remaining in alignment with what the Lord wants, with his purpose. And then you walk into that purpose, and he feels like he can bless you with more. Because like I said in the parable of the talents, if you're faithful in little things, you'll be faithful in much things. Amen? So even when it comes to your marriage, making sure the little things are taken care of. Hey, bring her home a little snack from the store, something like that, something she likes to make her happy. Because what is one thing we're called to as men? Making sure our wives are happy, making sure that we're in alignment with what the Lord wants us to do, and also putting our wives' needs before our own, because that is what we're biblically asked to do. Ephesians chapter 5 talks about it best. Husbands, love your wives as the Christ had loved the church, laid down his life for it. Jesus Christ laid his life down on the cross for us, even when we were sinners. So I know this sounds wild, man. I know this sounds wild. But even when your wife might not treat you the best, or you might not agree on everything, you're still called to love her. Because that's what the biblical commandment is. Love your wives, y'all. Love them. Cherish them. Take care of them. Agape love. What is agape love? Unconditional. You don't love her just because she's doing good to you. You love her because you love her. If that's who the Lord ordained for you and that's who you marry, you love them. Love them to the ends of the earth and back. That is how you truly steward a godly relationship, a godly marriage. If you guys aren't married yet, ladies, if you're looking for a man right now, make sure that he has some of these qualities I'm talking about. If he puts your needs before his, if he loves you unconditionally, that might be the man the Lord has for you. Those are signs. Make sure you make note of that, and make sure you steward that relationship properly. Because if that's who the Lord has for you, you can't be out here messing around and mess it up. Amen. So this is how you steward, y'all. This is how you steward your relationships, your family, your friends, making sure you're in those divine appointments and walking through them divine appointments how you should. Amen. Hey, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments how you felt, what your thoughts are, and we'll see you next time on The Faithful Bonds.